There's a document in the Spanish archives, dated June 1st, 1557. 3 words that changed everything. We cannot pay the richest empire on earth. Gold flowing from the Americas, silver mines produce fortunes daily, and they went bankrupt, completely, spectacularly bankrupt. Your credit card statement says minimum payment due. Spain's statement said, minimum payment is impossible. Different century, different currencies, same ending. What if I told you this was the first time a government discovered they could just ... stop paying? What if this pattern has repeated 14 times since? And what if your government is following the exact same playbook right now? To understand where we're headed, we need to go back. Not 2008, not 1929, further to the moment when governments learned they could borrow forever, pay never, and make it someone else's problem. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And right now, the rhyme is so loud it's deafening. This isn't taught in schools. They teach you Spain was rich, Spain was powerful, Spain conquered the world. They don't teach you Spain went broke 5 times. They don't connect those dots for you. Let me connect them. The story begins with impossible wealth. Spain, 1500s. Conquistadors returned from the Americas with ships full of gold and silver, mountains of it. The Spanish crown became the richest government in human history. Not per capita, total wealth. More gold than Rome ever saw. Source: The Ascent of Money by Niall Ferguson King. Charles V controlled an empire where the sun never set. Spain, the Netherlands, parts of Germany, Italy, most of the Americas. The gold flowed, the silver flowed, the money seemed infinite. They thought they'd solved the fundamental problem of power. Unlimited resources, unlimited possibilities, unlimited ambition. But beneath the gold, something was breaking, something they couldn't see, something that would destroy them. Let me take you to Madrid, 1557. The new king, Philip II, inherits the throne from his father. He inherits the empire. He also inherits something else: debt. Massive, crushing, impossible debt. Here's what they didn't see coming. The gold from America didn't stay in Spain. It flowed straight through, to bankers, to creditors, to foreign wars. Every gold shipment was already spent before it arrived, sometimes twice. Source: Spanish Finances in the 16th Century by Ramon Carrand. By 1557, Philip owed 40 million ducats. The empire's total revenue, 3 million ducats per year. Think about that. They owed 13 times their annual income. In modern terms, that's like earning $50,000 a year and owing $650,000. Sound familiar? U.S. national debt in October 2024, $35 trillion. Annual federal revenue, $4.9 trillion. We owe 7 times our annual income. We're not at Spain's level yet. We're getting close. Source: U.S. Treasury Department, October 2024. Philip tried everything. He raised taxes. The Spanish people were already paying 40% of income in taxes. He raised them again. Merchants fled. Trade collapsed. Source: The Spanish Economy in the 16th Century by J.H. Eliot. He borrowed more. Bankers in Genoa, Augsburg, and Antwerp lined up. Why? Because Spain had gold mines. Spain was too big to fail. The interest rates climbed from 5% to 15%, then 20%, the bankers knew. Philip didn't. Then came June 1st, 1557. Philip made an announcement that echoed through European financial markets. He was converting all short-term debt into long-term bonds at lower interest rates. Without asking permission, it was the world's first sovereign default. Source: Sovereign Defaults. The Role of Volatility by Cristina Orellano. The bankers called it a decree. Philip called it restructuring. We'd call it bankruptcy. Juan Martinez was a merchant in Seville. He'd lent the crown 20,000 ducats, a fortune, his entire family's wealth from 3 generations. The crown owed him 10,000 in interest alone. On June 2nd, 1557, he received a letter. His short-term loans were now long-term bonds. The interest rate was cut by 2/3 payment, delayed 40 years. He was 63 years old. He'd never see his money. His children wouldn't. His grandchildren might. His diary entry, June 5th, 1557, "The king has our gold. We have paper promises. The paper buys nothing. We are ruined." Source: Chronicles of Spanish Banking Crises compiled by Archivo General de Indias. Your retirement account right now. your 401k, your pension. Their paper promises to promises denominated in currency that loses value every year. Juan Martinez understood most people today don't yet. The Spanish default triggered a cascade. Merchant banks in Genoa collapsed. Credit markets in Antwerp froze. Trade across Europe seized up. It took a decade to recover. An entire generation's wealth vanished. Not stolen, restructured. Source: The Financial History of Western Europe by Charles P. Kindleberger. But here's the twist. Spain didn't learn. They defaulted again in 1575, then 1596, then 1607, then 1627, 4 times in 70 years. Each time, the same pattern. Borrow massively, spend on wars. Discovering debt is impossible. Default, wait, borrow again. The pattern was set. The lesson was unlearned. Notice what just happened. The same 3 warning signs that appeared in France, that appeared in Rome. Warning sign 1, income can't cover spending. Spain's revenue was 3 million, expenses were 8 million. Every year for decades. Warning sign 2, borrow to fill the gap. Spain borrowed from everyone: Italian bankers, German merchants, Dutch traders. The debt grew exponentially. Warning sign 3, interest payments exceed new revenue. By 1557, 40% of Spain's income went to interest payments, not principal, interest. They were paying their credit card with another credit card. Source: Spain in the 16th Century by IAA Thompson. See the pattern. The United States spent $6.7 trillion in fiscal year 2024. Revenue, $4.9 trillion. Gap, $1.8 trillion. Borrowed every year. Source: U.S. Congressional Budget Office. 2024 interest on U.S. debt in 2024. $892 billion. That's more than the defense budget, more than Medicare. It's the second largest line item after Social Security, and it's growing. Source: U.S. Treasury Interest Report, 2024. Your household feels this, not directly, indirectly. Every dollar spent on interest is a dollar not spent on infrastructure, healthcare, or education. It's a dollar that creates inflation instead of value. Spain's pattern didn't end with Spain. The blueprint was written. Other empires followed. France, 1789, we covered that. Debt crisis led to currency, crisis led to revolution, but before the assignat, France defaulted. 1788, they called it restructuring. Same thing. This pattern went global. The Ottoman Empire defaulted in 1876, Egypt in 1876, Greece in 1826, 1843, and 1860, Russia in 1918, Germany in 1932. These aren't random events, they're the same disease, different patients. Source: This time is different. 8 Centuries of Financial Folly by Reinhardt and Rogoff. Mexico defaulted 9 times between 1827 and 1982. Argentina holds the record. 9 times, most recently in 2001. Venezuela defaulted in 2017. Lebanon in 2020. Sri Lanka in 2022. Source: IMF Sovereign Debt Database. 2024, each time, the same story. Borrow too much, grow too slowly, can't pay, default, restructure, promise, never again, repeat. Rosa lived in Buenos Aires, 2001. She was a school teacher. Her salary was 800 pesos per month. She'd saved 80,000 pesos over 20 years. Enough for retirement, enough for security. December 2001, Argentina defaulted. The banks froze. Rosa's savings were trapped. When they reopened, the peso was devalued by 75%. Her 80,000 pesos became worth 20,000. Her retirement bought 5 years instead of 20. She wrote to her daughter in Miami, "I worked my whole life. I saved everything. The government took it with a signature. Not thieves, the government." Source: Argentina's Economic Crisis. Lessons and Warnings by World Bank. 2003, your savings account earns 0.5% interest. Inflation runs at 6% officially. Higher, realistically, your savings lose 5% purchasing power every year. It's slower than Argentina. The ending is the same. Death by 1,000 cuts instead of one blow. Source: Federal Reserve savings rate data versus BLS inflation data, 2024. Here's what keeps me up at night. Spain had one advantage, We don't. They defaulted to foreign creditors, Italian bankers, German merchants. The pain was external. Today's debt, it's different. The US owes $35 trillion. $7.6 trillion is owed to foreign governments. $27.4 trillion is owed to Americans, to pension funds, to retirement accounts, to Social Security, to youth source, us. Treasury, major foreign holders report, October 2024, when Spain defaulted. Spanish citizens suffered indirectly through trade collapse. When modern governments default, citizens suffer directly. Your retirement fund holds government bonds. Those bonds lose value, you lose retirement. There's no separation anymore. Japan discovered this the hard way. Their national debt hit 264% of GDP in 2024. That's the highest in developed world history. Source: IMF World Economic Outlook, October 2024. They haven't defaulted. They can't. They owe it to themselves, to Japanese pension funds, banks, and citizens. So instead of defaulting, they print money, inflate the debt away. The yen lost 30% of its value from 2021 to 2024. Quietly, slowly. Source: Bank of Japan exchange rate data. Your grocery bill jumped 40% since 2020. Your rent climbed 25%. Your wages grew 3%. The gap between what things cost and what you earn, that's the invisible default. They're inflating the debt away. You pay the price. Source: BLS Consumer Price Index versus Wage Growth Data, 2024. Student loans, add another layer. $1.7 trillion. That's $13,000 for every U.S. household, including those without student loans. Source: Federal Student Aid. 2024, the average graduate carries $38,000 in debt. Monthly payment, $503. That's 14% of median income. Before rent, before food, before life, an entire generation starting underwater. Like Spain in 1557, but personal. Source: Education Data Initiative. 2024 healthcare costs follow the same trajectory. Family insurance premiums averaged $23,968 in 2024. That's up 7% from 2023, 30% from 2020. Source: Kaiser Family Foundation Employer Health Benefits Survey, 2024 median household income. $74,580, one-third goes to healthcare before you see a doctor, before deductibles, before copays. Spain collapsed under debt. They chose. You're collapsing under debt. You didn't choose, but inherited anyway. Same pattern, different mechanisms. Even cryptocurrency promised escape. Decentralized finance, no government control, freedom from sovereign default risk. Bitcoin hit $69,000 in November 2021. The solution to government money problems. Then came 2022. Bitcoin dropped to 16,000. 77% loss, FTX collapsed. $32 billion vanished. BlockFi is bankrupt. Celsius is bankrupt. Voyager is bankrupt. Source: CoinMarketCap, historical data. SEC investigation reports, 2023, the technology changed. Human behavior didn't. Leverage, speculation, promises, defaults. The pattern repeated in digital form. So what does this mean for you? Right now, today, it means you're living through history, not reading about it, living it. The pattern Spain started in 1557 hasn't stopped. It's accelerated, it's globalized, it's personal. Your mortgage payment, student loan payment, credit card payment too are told. That's normal, that's responsible, that's adult life. What if it's not? What if it's part of a debt-based system that's been failing for 5 centuries? Spain discovered you can borrow until you can't. Then you default. Then you borrow again. We've industrialized that cycle, made it smooth, made it permanent. It made me feel normal, but there's a limit. History shows us. Every empire that followed Spain's path ended the same way. Debt grew faster than wealth. Interest consumed revenue. Default became inevitable. The only question was timing. We're told this time is different. We have better economists, better central banks, better understanding. Spain thought their gold made them different. France thought their land made them different. Argentina thought IMF support made them different. They were all wrong. What makes us different? Technology. Spain had the most advanced ships, the best weapons, the finest arts. Technology doesn't stop mathematical reality. debt that grows faster than income eventually collapses, always without exception. 567 years since Spain's first default. The pattern has repeated 76 times across 48 countries. Not because people are stupid, because the temptation is irresistible. Borrow now, pay later, let someone else deal with it. That someone else is you. Your generation. Your children. The debt doesn't disappear. It transfers. Spain's merchants learned that. Argentina's teachers learned that. You're learning it now through grocery bills, through rent increases, through wages that don't stretch. History doesn't repeat exactly. Spain's default took 10 years to recover from. Modern defaults trigger instant global contagion. Everything is connected now. One default cascades everywhere. One currency crisis becomes everyone's crisis. The question isn't whether the pattern continues, it's when and who pays the price. So here's what I can't stop thinking about. Every person who trusted their government's promises, Spanish merchants in 1557, French citizens in 1789, Argentine teachers in 2001, they all held paper that said backed by the state. That paper became worthless. You're holding paper too. Digital paper, promises in bank accounts, promises in retirement funds, promises in government bonds. The same promises. Are we the generation that finally breaks the cycle? Or are we repeating Spain's mistake for the 77th time? So let me ask you this. When you look at your bank account, do you see money? Or do you see promises that might not be kept? When you see government debt climbing, do you think someone will figure it out? Or do you recognize the pattern? Drop a comment. I read every single one. Because your experience isn't just your story. It's our story. It's the pattern continuing. And the more we share, the clearer we see. And here's something I haven't told you yet. There's one country that broke the pattern. One decision that changed everything. One moment when the cycle could have ended. That's for next time. If this made you see debt differently, hit subscribe. More patterns, more history, more truth every week. Because the best way to understand where we're going is to see where we've been. And we've been here before 76 times. Thank you for watching this through. Spain's default wasn't the first. It won't be the last. The question is whether we recognize the warning signs this time. I'll see you in the next one.